Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some Chelsea news. There's been a lot that's happened this week. Obviously we're recovering from a horrendous loss against West Ham, but it's not all doom and gloom. Firstly, I just want to say thanks to everyone that has subscribed to this channel. If you're loving the content that I'm doing at the moment, please make sure you sub. Thanks to everyone that's watched the videos with me and Joey. Thanks to everyone that's come over from the kickoff. You guys are amazing. I love it. I'm just hoping to make some more videos for you. And we're going to start off by talking about Romelu Lukaku. Don't know about you guys, but I'm actually a bit sick of talking about this guy right now. We didn't really expect him to be anywhere near the Chelsea squad by this time of the summer. The window is about to close. This guy is still at Chelsea. And the rumours are not looking that positive. It seems like he could end up staying at Chelsea. And this one just blows my mind. Lukaku has got one of the worst mentalities in modern football, and he has ruined it with the fan base at Everton, the fan base at United, the fan base at Juve, the fan base at Inter, the fan base at Chelsea. He's hated, and I just think it cost him his career really. When you look back now and you look at the legacy of Romelu Lukaku, a guy who should have been one of the best number 9s in the world, if not the best, he's just blown it, and all of that potential is gone. And so let's look at what the possibilities are around him staying. Like, what would it mean if he did stay? What would it mean if he did go? And let's look a little bit at the future. So the cons, obviously the worst one at the moment is about squad harmony. We've seen to have built a young, hungry squad of players that want to play for Chelsea. You've got players even like Chalobah and Gallagher that are actively being pushed out the door, but are still sticking around and trying to prove themselves to be in the first team. And I love that. And ultimately, I'd want both of those players to stay. But Romelu Lukaku isn't like that at all, is he? He's made it very, very clear that he wants to leave across multiple windows, across a million press conferences. And so the mentality isn't really there. And you've got to question whether he really wants to play for Chelsea. And the answer really is no, isn't it? And then what about the fact that we don't even really need him in the squad right now? You've got Jackson playing up there. You've got Broja coming back. You've got Nkunku that will come back after his injury. And we're talking about other players that could fill in as a winger/striker. So really, we built our squad to make sure that we don't need Romelu Lukaku. And so it would be a bit of a weird one to bring him back now, wouldn't it? And then let's not even get into fitness. He's had no pre-season. He's been training with the under-21s for the past couple of weeks. And his overall fitness is something that has always been questioned. And so when you're looking at Poch and the way that he runs his teams, he needs players that are ultimately physically fit. And Romelu just isn't like that. And then the final thing I'll say is his age profile. He's going to be coming into a squad that has an average age of under 23, and he would be one of our oldest players. Obviously, experience is one thing, and we'll talk about that in the pros, but you know, that age, he isn't coming to the peak of his career. His career is waning now. Now, let's get into some of the pros and talk about that, because the key thing now is whether we're even going to be able to send him on a full-blown transfer. It seems like it might be a loan deal. And do we want another player that's out on loan that we get a really bad deal for? And let's be honest, that agreement that he had with Inter, the amount of money that was coming to us was nowhere near enough for a player of his quality. And so if we do keep him, at least we'll be avoiding another loan and another ruined transfer, or selling him for a premium that isn't enough. Like, again, if we end up selling for this guy for, say, £15 million, that's not enough money, and we need to recover as much of that huge transfer fee that he took in. But it's not all about the cash either, is it? Let's talk about squad depth and squad quality here. We need players in the squad right now, and we're looking at number 9 or 9.5 replacements. We've got a guy here who's scored goals, who plays for Belgium, who is a decent enough quality. Do we just roll the dice and say, if we can't get a transfer, at least integrate him into the squad and see if he can challenge people like Broja? Because for me, Jackson would always be my key pick in that position. But could we see Jackson playing on the wing? Could Lukaku and Jackson end up playing together? Again, with the amount of injuries that we've got, would we benefit from having Jackson as a goal-scoring winger on the left-hand side, for example, cutting in and shooting? That could be something that works quite well. And maybe that's why they are looking at number 9s when we're all thinking and scratching our heads why they're even going for players of that role. But I think you can tell I'm scratching a bit of the bottom of the barrel here with pros to keep this guy around. My verdict is this simple, really. We shouldn't integrate him back in. Poch has made it very, very clear he doesn't want him in the squad. He's been training with the under-21s, as I say. Why bring him back now? It would just make no sense. He wouldn't be up to speed. And so it's clear he needs to leave the football club. And I think you'll all agree that Romelu's time at Chelsea Football Club is up. And sometimes when it rains, it pours. The next thing that I want to talk about is Mudryk's injury. Yes, we've got another injured player in training. Seems like another muscular injury. What is going on? It's a real shame for him as well, because he would have potentially got a chance against Luton in a game where he didn't have as much pressure and he could have shown some of his skills. So many people have got on this guy's back. So many people have written him off and said that he's not good enough quality. But I believe he is, and he's going to come good and show it. But with this injury, it's another setback. It takes him out of the squad. It then takes him out of the thinking for the next squads. And players like Noni Madueke are there and ready to take his place. And so the timing is just absolutely rubbish for this guy. And I really feel for him. But let's just talk about injuries generally now. We have 9 first team players that are now injured. Some of them on incredibly long injury layoffs, Fofana and Kunku being the 2 key ones for me. We've got a question now. Is this just bad luck? Or is it something that's going on with the medical department? Something's got to change, hasn't it? Like, we can't just be getting these muscular injuries. And I think that's the key thing to call out. If you kept getting injuries which were ACL injuries or knocks or things like that, you can go, okay, that makes sense. It's nothing to do with the medical department. But getting muscular injuries over and over again, you've got to question something about the team that is running that at the moment, especially at the start of the season, right? And last season, we were talking about players getting injured because they were playing 60 plus games. This isn't the case anymore. These guys have had a whole pre-season. Poch has worked on the fitness, but again, we're getting let down by these number of injuries. And no other club is experiencing a crisis like this. And we've had to deal with it for years now. So something needs to change. And ultimately, there are going to be more and more fingers pointing towards this medical department. But what do you think? Like, do you think it's just bad luck? Or do you think there is something systematically wrong with the way that these things are being run? And in the final part of this video, I want to talk about our squad. Obviously, when you look at it now, and I did a bit of research here, and I was going through our team now, I reckon we've got a squad of about 23 players. So let's go through some of these players that are question marks and see who should go and who should stay. First one for me is Malang Sarr. Apparently he's on 100 grand a week, so they're struggling to offload him. And I understand why, because he's not a 100 grand a week player. So he's going to have to take a pay cut, and obviously he's dragging his feet because he doesn't want to. But he's one of those first ones that I think needs to get out the door. I don't want to see him anywhere near the squad. Next one, we talked about him at the start of the video, Lukaku. I think it will be a sell. I think he will go. And I think we'll all be happier for that. Hudson-Odoi is also still at the football club. Again, I could see that one being a permanent one. Seems like Fulham and Forest are the 2 teams that are in for him at the moment. And I think he'll actually end up at Fulham. He'll get to stay in London. But he could be gone very, very soon indeed. And then last but not least, Chalobah, is he going to be able to be sold in time? Like, again, I've made it very clear and I've said over and over again that he should be staying at the Chelsea Football Club. He's got versatility, and if it was my decision, he'd stick around. But I could see the club just selling him. The key thing that we need to think about here is he going to be fit enough? He's obviously got an injury. Yes, another injury to add to our mounting list of injured players. So we're not even sure if he's going to be fit enough to take that medical. So it's yet to be seen whether he'll be able to make that transfer. So let's talk about loans. I only think there's one more loan that we should be looking at now, and it's in the central midfield area. And really, it's a playoff between 2 players. And this is an interesting one. Andre Santos played all the way through pre-season and looked very, very good. He tore up in the under-20s championship and looked quality. But he hasn't had the look in, and he wasn't in the squad against West Ham. And the player that he was up against was Ugo Chukwu. Now, he was in the squad against West Ham, and he did come on in the first game against Liverpool. So it seems like Poch actually fancies this guy a little bit more. So if I was thinking about who actually is going to end up leaving the football club on loan, I would say that it's more likely to be Santos now. So I'm going to put him down as the last player to leave on loan. Yes, that means that Gallagher is staying, and I anticipate him to do so now. I just don't think we're going to get enough business done before the end of the window to mean that we can replace his quality in the squad. So he's staying. What do you think though? Would you keep either one of those guys? Would you keep both of them? Or would you also think about keeping around people like Hudson-Odoi? Now, a lot of people are saying we need a right winger. We need someone that's a very good dribbler in the tight spaces. Hudson-Odoi is that kind of guy. So could we see one of those players being integrated back into the squad? Let me know in the comments. And if you got this far, make sure you check out my clothing brand Aveste, the home of independent streetwear. We've got a brand new drop from one of my favourite brands called Cheaplife. Make sure you check that out in the description below and support me. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out the kickoff this weekend. We're live from 4 PM on Sunday. Newcastle versus Liverpool. It's a massive game. Joey's going to be on the channel as well, so make sure you check that one out. I cannot wait for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon.